Close your eyes for just a moment. Imagine you're walking through New York City. The streets are busy. People are talking. Cars are passing by. A stranger walks up to you and asks, "Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to Central Park?" You know the answer. You've seen the map. You've even visited the park before. But something happens. Your brain immediately starts translating. First, you understand the English question. Then, you translate it into your native language. Next, you think of the answer in your native language. After that, you translate your answer back into English. Finally, you speak. By the time you're ready, the moment has already passed. The stranger is still waiting. You feel nervous. You begin with, Sound familiar? If it does, don't worry. You're not bad at English. You're simply using the slowest possible route. Today, I'm going to show you a completely different way. A way that fluent English speakers use every single day. A way that will eventually allow you to think, dream, and speak, without translating. Imagine two roads leading to the same destination. The first road is long. It has traffic. Many stop signs. Lots of delays. That's translation. The second road is direct. Smooth. Fast. That's thinking in English. Your goal isn't to learn more grammar today. It's to build a new road inside your brain. Because fluency doesn't begin when your vocabulary becomes bigger. Fluency begins when your thoughts stop making unnecessary detours. Let me tell you about Alex. Alex had been studying English for almost 7 years. His grammar was excellent. His pronunciation was clear. He had memorized thousands of words. But every conversation felt exhausting. One afternoon, his English teacher asked him a simple question. "What color is the sky today?" Alex looked outside. Then he paused. Why? Because inside his mind, he wasn't seeing the sky. He was translating the word sky. The teacher smiled and asked another question. When you see an apple, do you think of the word in your native language first? Alex laughed. No. What do you think of? The picture. Exactly. Children don't translate. When they hear the word apple, they don't connect it to another language. They connect it directly to an image. That's why children learn languages so naturally. Their brains create pictures, not translations. That single lesson changed everything for Alex. From that day forward, he stopped translating words. Instead, he imagined them. Coffee. He pictured a steaming cup. Rain. He imagined drops falling from the sky. Beach. He saw waves, sand, and sunshine. Little by little, English stopped feeling like a school subject. It became a collection of ideas. And ideas are much faster than translation. Let's try something together. When I say the word, don't translate it, just picture it. Mountain. Can you see it? The trees. The rocks. The cool air. Good. Now. Airport. Imagine airplanes taking off. People carrying suitcases. Security checks. Announcement boards. Excellent. Notice what your brain just did. It understood English. Without another language. That's exactly the skill we're building today. Now let me ask you something. When you hear the word dog, do you immediately think of the translation? Or do you see a dog? Most people see the animal first. That's proof that your brain already knows how to think directly. You just haven't trained it enough. So here's your first challenge. For the rest of today, every time you see an object, say its English name. But don't stop there. Describe it. Instead of saying chair, say, this chair looks comfortable. Instead of phone, say, my phone needs charging. Instead of window, say, the window is open, and I can hear birds outside. Those tiny descriptions train your brain to create thoughts, instead of translations. Now imagine you're making breakfast. Don't think in your native language. Say, I'm making coffee. The bread is getting warm. I need another spoon. I'm running out of milk. These simple sentences may seem ordinary, but they are quietly changing the way your brain works. Because fluency isn't built during exams. It's built during ordinary moments. While you're cooking, walking, cleaning, driving, shopping, living. And the beautiful thing is, those opportunities exist every single day. You don't need to travel abroad. You don't need a native speaking friend beside you every hour. You already have everything you need. Your own thoughts, your own surroundings, your own imagination. That's where real fluency begins. Now, I want to ask you a simple question. When was the last time you had a conversation with yourself? It probably happened today. Maybe while getting ready for work. Maybe while walking outside. Maybe while deciding what to eat. The only difference is, that conversation happened in your native language. Imagine if you slowly changed that habit. Instead of thinking, I'm hungry, you think, I'm getting hungry. Instead of, where are my keys? You think, where did I leave my keys? Instead of, I should leave now. You think, I'd better leave now or I'll be late. At first, your brain will feel slow. That's normal. Remember the first time you learned to ride a bicycle? You had to think about everything. Balance, pedaling, brakes, turning. Nothing felt natural. But after enough practice, you stopped thinking about riding. You simply rode. Thinking in English works exactly the same way. The beginning always feels slow. But every day, your brain creates new connections. Eventually, English thoughts become automatic. Now let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah had one habit that completely changed her English. Every night before going to sleep, she replayed her entire day. Not in her native language. In English. She would lie in bed and think, today I woke up a little late. I skipped breakfast because I was in a hurry. My meeting went well. I need to finish my project tomorrow. She wasn't speaking out loud. She was simply changing the language of her thoughts. The first week, it felt exhausting. The second week, it became easier. After a few months, something amazing happened. One afternoon, a tourist stopped her and asked for directions in English. For the first time, she answered immediately. No translating. No hesitation. Just an answer. She later realized something incredible. She hadn't become smarter. She had simply trained her brain to think differently. That's exactly what I want for you. Now let's try another exercise together. Look around the room you're in right now. Don't translate. Describe what you see. Maybe you notice a table. Instead of saying, table, say, there's a wooden table near the window. Maybe you see a backpack. My backpack is on the floor because I forgot to put it away. Maybe you see a glass of water. I should drink more water today. Can you see what's happening? You're no longer naming objects. You're creating thoughts. And thoughts create fluency. Here's another challenge. Imagine you're walking through a supermarket. Everything you see, describe it in English. The apples look fresh. These bananas are very ripe. I think the cereal is too expensive. I forgot to buy eggs. Nobody needs to hear you. The conversation happens inside your mind. Those tiny moments become hours of English thinking every week. Now let's talk about one habit that slows learners down. Translating single words. Imagine someone says, beautiful. Many learners immediately search for the translation. Instead, connect it with a picture. A sunset. A mountain. A smiling child. A peaceful beach. Now the word has meaning. Not because another language explained it, but because your mind created an image. This is exactly how babies learn their first language. Nobody teaches a baby the translation of the word ball. They simply point to the ball. The brain makes the connection. Images are universal. Translation is temporary. The stronger your mental images become, the less you'll depend on another language. Now imagine I say, freedom. Can you draw a picture of freedom? Maybe not exactly. Some words are abstract. For words like these, create a personal memory instead. Perhaps freedom reminds you of finishing your exams. Or standing on a mountain. Or taking your first solo trip. Attach emotions to English words. Emotion creates memory. Memory creates fluency. Now let's play a little game. I'll give you a situation. You tell yourself the story in English. You're late for work. What are you thinking? Maybe. I overslept. I need to hurry. I hope the traffic isn't too bad. I'll text my manager. Excellent. Now another. You're waiting for a friend at a cafe. What thoughts appear? I wonder where they are. Maybe they're stuck in traffic. I'll order a coffee while I wait. Do you notice something? These are real thoughts. Not textbook sentences. Real English lives inside everyday moments. That's why practicing real thoughts is much more powerful than memorizing random vocabulary lists. Now let's talk about dreaming in English. Many learners ask, how do I start dreaming in English? The answer surprises them. You don't try to dream in English. You simply think in English so often, that your brain naturally continues while you sleep. Dreams are just your brain practicing what it experiences every day. The more English enters your daily life, the more naturally it appears in your dreams. And when that happens, it's a wonderful sign. It means English is slowly becoming part of your subconscious mind. Not because you forced it, but because you lived with it every day. Now, I want you to imagine two different students. The first student spends 3 hours every day memorizing vocabulary. Word after word. List after list. Translation after translation. At the end of the month, they know hundreds of new words. But when someone asks a simple question, they still hesitate. Why? Because they learned words, not thoughts. Now imagine the second student. This student learns fewer words. But every day, they describe their surroundings in English. They tell themselves stories. They think about tomorrow's plans. They replay conversations. They ask themselves questions. After 1 month, they may know fewer vocabulary words. But they speak more naturally. Because their brain has learned to create ideas directly in English. Here's the truth. Your brain doesn't speak words. It speaks ideas. Words are only the tool. Ideas come first. Think about your native language. When someone asks, what did you eat for breakfast? Do you search for vocabulary? No, a picture appears in your mind. Maybe toast, coffee, eggs, fruit. The image comes first. Then the words. That's exactly how fluent English works. Your goal isn't to memorize more English. Your goal is to build stronger pictures. Now let's try another exercise. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine you're standing on a beach. Can you hear the waves? Can you feel the warm sand? Can you smell the ocean? Now describe everything, only in English. The water is calm. The wind feels nice. Children are playing near the shore. The sky is perfectly blue. Notice how natural that feels? Because your brain is describing an experience, not translating a sentence. Let's imagine another place. You're inside an airport. People are walking quickly. Announcements are playing. Someone is saying goodbye to their family. Flights are being announced. Now think in English. I need to find my gate. I hope my flight isn't delayed. I should buy a bottle of water. This is real thinking. Real situations. Real English. Now let's talk about one habit that changed thousands of English learners. Narrating your life. Imagine you're cleaning your room. Instead of working silently, become the narrator of your own life. First, I'm going to organize my desk. Now I'm putting my books on the shelf. This room already looks much cleaner. It sounds simple. Almost too simple. But that's exactly why it works. You're practicing English in situations you'll actually experience. Not imaginary textbook conversations. Real life. Now here's another challenge. Pretend you're a YouTuber. Imagine you're recording your daily routine. Describe everything. Good morning, everyone. Today I'm making breakfast. After breakfast, I'm going to study English for 30 minutes. Later, I'll meet my friends. Nobody has to hear you. The camera doesn't even have to exist. The goal is to keep your thoughts flowing in English. Now let's discuss one of the biggest fears learners have. Making mistakes inside their own minds. Yes, even your thoughts don't need to be perfect. Imagine you think, yesterday I go to the market. Then you suddenly realize, no, yesterday I went to the market. Great. You corrected yourself. Without pressure. Without embarrassment. That's how learning happens. Don't stop thinking because of one mistake. Keep the thought moving. Here's something interesting. When children learn their first language, they make thousands of mistakes. Nobody expects perfection. They simply continue talking. Adults often expect themselves to speak perfectly from the very beginning. That's impossible. Give yourself permission to think imperfectly. Because imperfect English thinking eventually becomes fluent English thinking. Now let's imagine you're planning tomorrow. Instead of writing your schedule only in your native language, think it through in English. Tomorrow I'll wake up at 7. After breakfast, I'll go to work. In the evening, I'll exercise. Before sleeping, I'll read a few pages of my book. You've just practiced future tense, without opening a grammar book. That's another secret. Grammar becomes much easier when it's connected to real life. Now I want to ask you something. Have you ever noticed that when you're worried, your thoughts become louder? The same thing happens in English. The more emotional the situation, the more natural your English thinking becomes. Imagine you're late. Come on, hurry up. Imagine you're excited. I can't believe this is happening. Imagine you're hungry. I need something to eat. These emotional thoughts appear quickly because they matter to you. That's why you should practice English with emotions. Don't just say, I'm happy. Say, I'm so excited about tomorrow. Don't just say, I'm tired. Say, I'm exhausted. I need a good night's sleep. Emotion makes language memorable. Emotion makes language real. And real language is the language you'll actually use. Now here's one final exercise before we finish. For the next 60 seconds, don't think in your native language. Describe everything around you. Describe your plans. Describe your feelings. If you don't know a word, describe it another way. Don't stop. Keep your thoughts moving. Because every second you think in English, you're building a stronger, faster, more confident brain. One day, you'll be walking down the street, and suddenly realize, you've been thinking in English for the last 10 minutes. You won't even notice when it happened. You'll simply smile. Because that's the moment you realize. English is no longer something you're translating. It's something you're living. And that's what fluency really means. Not perfect grammar. Not a perfect accent. But a mind that's free to think, imagine, and communicate directly in English. So starting today, don't wait for the perfect time to practice. Use every ordinary moment. Every walk. Every meal. Every shower. Every bus ride. Every quiet moment. Turn them into English moments. Because fluency isn't built in a classroom alone. It's built in the thousands of tiny conversations you have with yourself every single day. Keep thinking. Keep speaking. Keep imagining. And one day, without even realizing how it happened, English will become your second nature. I'll see you in the next lesson. Until then, keep your mind in English, keep your curiosity alive, and never stop learning.